Kakadosh Bokaro, we're just going to continue with the halachot. There's a lot of halachot this morning, so I'll try to be as brief as possible. This morning, right after Shachrit, obviously everyone that's a Bechor, or that you have a child that is a Bechor, and the child is under Bar Mitzvah, so then we are obligated to fast. So anybody that's a Bechor or has a child that is under Bar Mitzvah, that is a Bechor, they're obligated to fast, and therefore right after Shachrit, we're going to be having a Siyum Masechet by Samimaya, and Bezat Hashem, by fulfilling the Mitzvah of the Siyum Masechet, and by partaking in a kezait, and therefore you will have to have a kezait that will be given out, distributed downstairs. Only if you actually participate in a kezait right after the siyum are you going to be exempt from the rest of the day of a ta'anit. If you do not participate in the kezait downstairs, so therefore the bechors will need to come and fast for the rest of the day. So it's very, very important that you participate in a kezait. Those that are not bechors do not need to participate whatsoever, because again, you're not obligated to fast. That's going to be halakha number one. This morning, we've got also a lot of different halachot. Number one, we're going to have the stopping of the eating of the chametz. So we have to stop eating chametz at 10:56 a.m. and we have to be makpid to brush our teeth, right? And to make sure that we are getting rid of all the eating of the chametz before 10:56 a.m. I repeat, last night I actually went through the cubbies of everybody with my son, and we actually did find again chametz. We said that it's the obligation of everybody to look through your cubbies. It is your obligation, right, in order to make sure that you get rid of the chametz. Mechirat chametz, the selling of your chametz, we wrote down Sunday night because I know if I write down Sunday night, I'll get it Wednesday morning. So therefore, but if I write down Wednesday morning, we'll get it after Pesach. Make sure that if somebody did not sell their chametz, to make sure that you get it in as soon as possible to sell your chametz, right? The next thing is to do with the burning of the chametz. So since the burning of the chametz is going to be a Rabbanan because you already did b'dikat chametz last night, and you already also did the bitul chametz, so therefore you could send a child which was higia lechinuch in order to do it for you. Meaning you could send a shliach. If you yourself cannot do it, obviously it's better that you do it yourself. But if you cannot do it, so then you would be able to even send a child which is higia lechinuch in order to do srefat chametz. The burning of the chametz has to be done before 12:10, and also you have to do the bitul as well, which means you nullify the chametz as well beforehand. So therefore, you have to make sure that you're going to burn the chametz. Remember that when you're burning the chametz, you have to take the chametz in itself and throw it in the fire. If it's got foil, it's not going to burn. So you open it up, you throw the chametz itself in the fire. Once it finishes burning in the fire, now you're going to say the bitul chametz. Remember, you have to understand what you're saying. So therefore, it's not just enough to read kal chamira if I don't know what chamira is. So you have to say kol chametz v'seor sheyesh bershuti, or you're going to say it in any language that you understand. In order to understand what you're saying, we say it 3 times as a chizuka inyan to strengthen the matter that we're doing. And then what happens is we have to remember that you're not allowed to work after chatzot. Chatzot is 1:23. So if you want to take a haircut or do all the things that you need to do, make sure that you're not working after chatzot. 1:23 is going to be chatzot. The same for tonight. 1:23 you should finish, whether it's going to be the fikomen and even finish the halel, because even the halel which was said with the korban pesach should be finished before chatzot. So 1:23 a.m. you should also finish, whether it's going to be which one? No, a.m. 1:23 a.m. you're going to finish the afikomen and the halel. So that's going to be very, very important. And then 1:23 p.m. you're going to finish your work, obviously. But again, in the nighttime, since it's the same time, chatzot yom and chatzot laila, so therefore it's daytime, whether it's going to be midnight and midday is the same time and the halachic times. So therefore at 1:23 a.m. you have to finish. To do with mincha gedolah, we're going to try to get a minyan here for mincha gedolah at 2 p.m. If anybody's able to come at 2 p.m., that would be incredible. The reason why is because they say mincha gedolah with a minyan, and after praying mincha with a minyan, there's going to be the reciting of whether it's going to be the Korban Pesach, the Membet Masaot, whether it's going to be the letter of Reb Shimshon Nasropoli, and other things as well. But again, that's going to be at 2 p.m. If today, this afternoon, 2 p.m. here in the Bet Knesset. Afterwards, we've got mincha this afternoon. Mincha this afternoon, candlelighting is at 7:19 p.m. and mincha followed by arvit and full halal is 7:25 p.m. Remember that when we're going to say the halal tonight, the beracha on the halal tonight in the Bet Knesset is going to be Yotzei Chovah, is going to fulfill your obligation of the beracha of the halal in the seder. In the Haggadah Shel Pesach, we say the full halal, but we split it up, and there's no beracha. So the beracha that is going to be said in the Bet Knesset, and you have in mind that beracha in the Bet Knesset for the halal that you're going to be saying later on. But since we obviously have to finish at a proper time so that the children do not sleep, So therefore, what we do is we sing the Hallel, but without singing of the songs. So therefore, we just basically read it with singing a tune, but it's not really the real singing of a regular Hallel that we're going to take our time in it. But we have to make sure that it's going to be nighttime. Because remember that tonight and also tomorrow night, because it's Sefirat HaOmer, but even without that, the nights of Pesach has to be done at nighttime. Kiddush has to be done after nightfall. According to all opinions, it cannot be done beforehand. So therefore, I think that we covered the majority of the halachot that we have to just remember from now until tonight. Obviously, there's a mitzvah of going to the mikveh, purifying ourselves before the regel. Candle lighting, again, you have to make sure that we do eruv tavshilin. Eruv tavshilin is that you take a matzah and an egg, and you're going to say, Bahadin Ruva, you have the nusach. If not, we're going to send it out on the chat as well. You're going to make an eruv. By doing this eruv, right, by making this eruv, you're going to be able to permit yourself to prepare from Erev Shabbat, from Friday to Shabbat. Because if not, then you can't prepare from Erev Shabbat to Shabbat. There's even a question about candlelighting. So therefore, what we do is you have to make sure that you do Eruv Tavshilin, and then you have the candlelighting. You make sure that you're going to light your tzeit candle, a candle which is of the Linun Nishmat, which is going to be of 72 hours, in order that for Friday and every other time that you're going to need an existing light, you're going to be using that for the next 2 or 3 days. Friday night, remember, Be'ezrat Hashem, that we're doing early Shabbat, because there anymore you don't have the obligation of doing it in full nighttime. So we're doing it by Plaga Mincha, by Pelega Mincha. We're doing early after the 2 nights of the full days and everything of the late nights. We're going to be doing early Shabbat. That's going to be on Friday night. We're going to be, the bulletin is going to have the schedule in the bulletin. There's also going to be other schedules as well given out, and it's been sent out also on the chat. If there's any other questions, please let me know.